Hi everyone. Sorry I'm late. There's been some technical difficulties again, and I'm going to get up right now and take care of the very last one. But I know I was running late, and so I didn't want to keep you holding too much longer. I'm Miriam Ortiz y Pino, certified professional organizer and simplicity expert, and I am here for the More Than Organized January Q&A session. I will be here for about another 15 minutes or so. If you have live questions that you want me to answer, just type them below. I'm happy to answer it. Go ahead and share this with all your friends, and we'll take care of a few questions about New Year's resolutions and kitchens. And I think I have another one about general clutter as well. So let me just see if I can let my cat out because he keeps meowing because he wants to go out. And now, of course, as soon as I say that, he's nowhere near the door. So let me try that while you tell your friends to come join us, and I'll be right back. Okay, no more cat. And hopefully this is going well. I'm not sure what has been going on lately. I am not doing very well with the technical stuff, and I apologize for that. I keep thinking I know what I'm doing, and then something goes awry. So here we go. January is National Get Organized Month, sponsored by the National Association of Professional Organizers, in case you didn't know. But organizers all over the country are answering questions, doing special projects, offering special deals. All kinds of things are going on to help you get organized. So let me know if there's a question or somewhere you are stuck about getting organized, and I'm happy to talk to you about it or answer your question right here. Alternatively, you can go to my website, morethanorganized.net, sign up there for the newsletter, and you'll get updates on offerings that I have and the emails that solicit questions for this session once a month, which is on the second Thursday of the month. Usually closer to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, which is where I am. Sorry again for the delay. It just could get it to start for some reason. Anyway, that's one of the things I want to talk to you about, though, because one of the questions is actually about what does it take to be successful with your resolutions? And it turns out the answer to that question is similar to what's going on with my technology issues, and that is to plan for obstacles. So I realize I need to get started a little bit earlier now, and I have a plan. I have a checklist that I go through. So when it didn't work, I just had to go back to my checklist and go through all the steps again. And the second time through, it worked, but it was a little bit slow in reloading everything. So that's why it took so long. But there was a plan, and I did it anyway. So I'm late, but we're doing it. So that's one of the things you can do for your New Year's resolutions as well. That is, plan for obstacles. What are you going to do when it's an obstacle that you can't control? Say the weather interferes with your morning jog. What are you going to do instead? Are you going to go run in the rain? Or are you going to do yoga instead? Are you going to make it to the gym? What's your alternative? Can you wait and do it in an hour? What's the plan? If you are dieting and you are out and about and you are stuck between appointments and your blood sugar is dropping and you need something, what's your plan? Are you going to start carrying some sort of a diet bar in your bag, or do you have go-to restaurants or cafes in your town that have food that's healthy enough to eat? Make the plan. What are you going to do when these things come up? In addition to the plan, a good setup is also going to help you as well. So think through, what are the things I need to pull that project off? What are the things that are going to make it easy for me to do that thing? And go from there. See what happens when you get to the park and the grass is all slick with ice and you can't quite run the hills. What are you going to do then? Happened to me earlier this week. So that's the kind of thing you want to think through. What's the plan? How can you set yourself up? For me, it was, I just wear a different pair of shoes on the days when it's going to be really icy. I have some that have a little bit more tread, and they worked out much better the next day when I went walking in the ice. So plan all the things you need. Do you need your iPod and headphones and the pass to the gym and your bag? Are you going to wash your hair at the gym or back at home? What's the plan? Set it up. And have a checklist if you need it until you get in the habit. Those are the two things that are going to help your resolutions a lot more. Think through the setup and the obstacles, both the ones you can control and what to do when you're out of control about it. Okay. Yay! I'm so relieved. Sorry, I seem to be talking very fast, but I'm so relieved that this is finally on and working. All right, so also there is a concept called leveraging your resolutions. And that is when you take care of one resolution that will automatically help everything else you're trying to accomplish. So there's that book, The One Thing, that talks about what's the one thing, let me just read it, it's hanging on my wall. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? So starting some resolutions without having a plan or without getting organized about it, you're just bound to fail because you won't have the supplies you need when you need them or know where they are, and you'll get frustrated and you'll give up before you're in the habit of doing something. So getting organized is one of those resolutions that is what I call a keystone resolution. If you do the organizing first, all other resolutions will be easier because you will know what you have and where it is and how much time you have to devote to things, or what you're going to rearrange to devote more time to those things. Does that make sense? Think through, and you may not need to get organized in every aspect of your life to start the other resolution, but if you get organized in your kitchen, you're automatically going to eat healthier, and it's going to be easier to cook, and it's going to be easier to know what to buy and when, and you can get rid of all the snack food while you're cleaning out your pantry. And there's just little things that will take away some temptations and make any new behaviors easier. So start by getting organized. Try that. Just getting the setup right gets you 80% of the way to your completing your resolutions. So any project, start with the getting organized piece and then move into developing the habit about it. Now, you can find out a lot more about how to develop habits at my website, morethanorganized.net. Ton of articles on how to develop habits and ways to maintain things once you are organized. And even some things on how to get organized in the first place, the actual how-to steps. I have a 3-part quick start course on the homepage right there at morethanorganized.net. It'll point you to all the best articles for doing those things. Okay, so when people do get organized in their house, I often have them start with the kitchen. Sometimes with the master bedroom or closet, but most of the time with the kitchen. And that is because it's the hearth and heart of the home. It's the foundation for launching your day. It sets up the house for nurturing support for you if you're alone in your house or if you have a whole bunch of kids or somewhere in between. It's the place where people gather. It's the place you entertain. And the kitchen is for the storage, preparation, cooking, eating, and cleaning up of food. So start with it's about the food and work out from there. It shouldn't be about it's about the paper and then I happen to have some food in my pantry too. It should be about the food and the prepping, cooking, eating, cleaning, and storage of that food. And then if there's room left over, you bring other things into the kitchen. But the number one thing you can do to help with the kitchen clutter is to realize that it's the foundation of the home. And that's why it's important to keep it organized. And then you want to define the spots for things to live based on those categories. If it's food preparation, make it between the refrigerator and the stove because that's where you're preparing the food. If it's about the eating of the food, it's between the stove or microwave and the table or the countertop where you sit at the bar. So then the dishes should be near there or near the dishwasher where it's easy to put them away. Hopefully you have a cabinet that's kind of halfway between both, and then that's the perfect place to keep your dishes. So think about that. What do I use the thing for, and where is it convenient to have it in the flow, the workflow of cooking food, the whole preparation of your food? Maybe you're a big coffee drinker like me and you need a whole coffee setup situation. So I have my hot pot, my French press, the thermos I pour the coffee from the French press into, and the mugs are all right there within one step reach. They are in the same little spot right between the kitchen, between the sink and the stove, so that they're exactly where the water is to fill the kettle and the mugs are to fill the mugs, and it's just one more step to the fridge to get the milk for my coffee. So setting it up like things together. It's not like I have the mugs stored over where I have the bar glasses, because the bar glasses are over by the liquor. So that's why you want to think through the different aspects of what you have in your kitchen. Do you bake a lot? Do you have a baking center? I do. I have 2 little shelves full of the baking stuff. The mixing bowls, the pie plate, one of each kind of baking thing, the cookie cutters, and the rolling pin. All that is in the one little spot together. But the things I use for baking and for prepping are over by the pots and pans. So the measuring cups, the spoons, and the liquid measure are all over there because I use those more often than I bake. Does that make sense? Hopefully it starts seeming simple to you. But the number one way to keep your kitchen clutter-free is to actually have those spots defined with like things together whenever possible. And the shape should not be the first hint of how to store something in your kitchen. There are a few exceptions. A KitchenAid mixer must go in certain places because it'll collapse shelves. Some people don't like them out on the counter. You need to think about the weight of it. Are you going to pull it off a shelf or lift it up from a shelf? How are you going to deal with that? But most things in the kitchen should be stored near where they are used and adjust the shelving as needed instead of moving the item to a different part of the kitchen, because you're going to save steps and seconds every day, which pile up over time. Okay. The other thing you can do about the clutter in the kitchen is to really eliminate as many single-purpose items as possible. You don't really need 4 different styles of micro cheese planes. You really just need a universal grater. You may not need 6 different styles of mixing bowls if you have one really good set of metal ones that can deal with Mixmaster and with making whipped cream or something, something that needs a cold bowl. So I like metal ones for that purpose, but you can also go with glass ones or plastic ones if that's your preference. But do you need 3 different sets of bowls? Probably not. One would probably suffice. So think about all the single-purpose items and see which ones you can do without. And if you're worried at all about the fact that you might need it, why don't you box up all those extra kitchen gadgets and put them in a box in the garage or in a storage space where it's just marked kitchen gadgets, and if you ever need it or it seems like it's going to be faster to go get it out of that box than it is to just use the chef knife or the other thing you have in your kitchen, you can come up with some pretty creative ways of dealing in the kitchen if you don't have that one item that's made for only that purpose. And that can be fun too, just to see how resourceful you can be, because that's a really good skill to develop too. Could be on your resolution list, developing resilience and resourcefulness. What do you think? Little self-reliance hanging out? Okay, let me just check and see if any questions are coming in. Ooh, looks like I've had several people join the video. Hello, glad to have you here. All right, we're gonna just check the questions. There's a little delay on the Facebook feed, so it always takes me just a moment to see if anyone's commenting.
There's a little delay
and then there's,
on the Facebook feed,
listen,
so
I'm always, there I am, talking right now. Okay. No questions are coming. Do you have a question? I know there's a couple people watching me right now. Do you have a question? What's your question? Okay, let me just check the email real quick because I did send out a request. And again, if you like this video, share it with your friends. If you like the idea of having an organizer available on the 2nd Thursday of every month to answer your questions, it's usually 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Mountain, or soon thereafter. Mark your calendars. I'm going to do this every 2nd Thursday of the month, And I will be sending out requests for questions at some point that same week or morning. So get on the email list at morethanorganized.net, and you'll always get that email reminder that this is going to be happening. And let's see. Let me see. I have another question here already saved up, and then I will refresh the other and check back on that in just a minute. So if you're asking a question right now. All right, so 2 other things you can do in the kitchen to set yourself up for success in there is to remove all non-kitchen items. So start with setting the kitchen up for success first before you add a tool drawer, before you add a whole lot of household cleaning supplies under the sink. You know, maybe you just need the dishwasher soap and the dish soap and the hand soap. Maybe some glass cleaner, and everything else can go in a cleaning closet in a utility room or something like that. And then think about all the other little stuff that piles up. There's that junk drawer. Do you really need Scotch tape in the kitchen? Maybe. I don't. But I do need a Sharpie for writing on Ziploc baggies when I put stuff in the freezer. I do have my phone chargers in there because I have this great drawer, and the counter right there is kind of my launching out the front door spot. So I have the phone chargers and one notepad for household notes on it. But what else do you need in there? I see so many people have all their crafting supplies, have all their kids' homework and all kinds of stuff. And I get it if your kids are doing homework on the counter while you're making dinner or whatever, but you don't need to store their homework in the kitchen. It should go back to their room or their study area or travel back and forth to school in their backpack, not stored in the kitchen. Because that's not having to do with prepping, cooking, eating, cleaning, or storage of food. Food first. If you have a huge kitchen and you have an extra cabinet or something, that's one thing, but set up the kitchen first before you bring in any other categories to the room. It's the fastest way to get through your whole house. Because what happens is you'll go, well, I need some tape in the kitchen, so I'll just keep some here. But I'm also going to keep it in the office and in the kids' playroom and in the craft room and in the garage and in every other room. And then you end up with tape all over the house and you can never find your tape because it's everywhere instead of where it should be. Which in my mind would be the office, in the office closet or on the desk, so that everyone would have access to it. So think about it that way too. The one other question I have that was pre-sent in is, what's the difference between clutter and a collection? And this is really interesting. I've talked about it a few times. I'm not sure I've done it on a Q&A call or session yet. But really, clutter is anything that's in your way, whether it's mental, on your schedule, if it's physical items, if it's people, it could be ideas in your own mind. Those things are clutter, and they get in your way and trip you up, and they don't let you move forward, so they keep you very stuck. So that's clutter. That's the stuff that needs to go away. A collection is not just a bunch of stuff you own. Because if that was true, some of my clients would have a shampoo collection or a moisturizer collection. And that's not really a collection. What a collection is to collectors is a group of items that are of a thing. So think of it like art. You might be an art collector across the board. So you have a lot of art created by people making things just for the design and beauty of it. No function whatsoever. You may have comic books. My brother collects comic books. He has boxes and boxes and boxes of comic books. They are not in a pile or strewn in a bag in the garage or all over the place. No, they are filed by year, by, what are they called? By collection, by topic. They are matted with a board and put in a Mylar bag, and they are indexed and cross-referenced on a spreadsheet, and they are typed and priced and ready to trade and wheel and deal to fill in the spots of the collection that are most important to him. So I think that's an important part of collecting, is the ability to be willing to let go of something to fill in with a better piece. The wheeling and dealing of it all, I think, is actually an important part of a collection. And if you do not have that ability to let go of it for the right price or to improve the overall curation of your collection, it's not really a collection. Most people have a pile of crap that they call a collection to make themselves feel better about it. And I don't want to be mean about it, but that's what I found with my clients. And most of the time they're kind of joking about it being a collection. But every once in a while they think there's actual value to it. And really, it's not been cataloged, it's not been stored right, it's not been taken care of. And so it's not really a collection, it's a pile of crap. Collections must be cared for, like in a museum. That's a collection of items. So think of it that way. All right, let me check one more time. I've run a little bit later than I wanted, but I know I started late. But it is important for me to get to my next event as well. So let's see. Any comments come in? I don't see any. Let me try looking from one more perspective, just in case it's a weird technology catching up with me thing. And I should be able to see here visually where the comments are coming. Sometimes technology is really fun, and sometimes it seems more hassle than it's worth. Have you found that too? All right, hurry up. Let's do this thing. All right, so I would love to hear from you, whether you're on this live or you're going to watch it later once it's posted on the page. I would love to hear what your resolutions are for the year. Mine is to be more constant, not consistent, but constant, and really embrace the possible. So those are my resolutions for the year, along with simplifying some of my work processes here. But I'd love to hear what yours are. And if there's any way I can help you with the organization part of it, I would love to do that as well. And I'm not seeing any questions that you guys posted. So I know some of you watched, maybe you're just a little shy. In the future, feel free to send me questions. I always store them up for next month. And again, this is More Than Organized. And I'm Miriam Ortiz y Pino, certified professional organizer and simplicity expert, answering your questions every second Thursday of the month. And I will see you in February. Thanks. Take care.